GearNetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Entonces, Fatman.
I don't speak Japanese.
Disfrute de la lucha libre triple A?
I don't speak Korean.
Let's just do a top 10 list then.
I don't speak Canadian.
Well, let's find out on The Wrestling Show. Soy Sleazy. This is going to be a long fucking intro. Welcome, everyone, to another wonderful episode. Todos ustedes son... You fucking... I listened to the show last week.
You listened to the beginning and the end.
No, I listened to all of it, but not until after it was posted. I listened to it yesterday morning at work, no less. Thank you, fuckers.
Who edits the show?
Barely me, for one.
Okay, so that's your fault.
No, I'm not. Absolutely not. I'm not taking this by myself. You motherfuckers.
That's what she said.
Yeah, okay, fair. So obviously I was sick last week, and Fatman
the inmates will run the asylum.
Pretty much. I was actually sick enough that I didn't do much for the show either in terms of editing. So
fair enough.
Certain words fly out, whatever. So today we're not joined by the man they call Orion, but Mr. Chip Willett is here with us. The Seamus of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, there we go. The Seamus of Pennsylvania. I like it. How's it going, guys?
So, Fat Man's like upset because he doesn't know how to speak Spanish. And
did you get a chance to watch any of it?
I did.
I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, but I could not. The commentary kept distracting the shit out of me because I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
That's why I don't watch it.
But it was great action. It was great action. It was a good pay-per-view.
That's why I didn't really watch New Japan until they got English commentary, because it's distracting. Like a good match, a great match can be good. You know what I mean? Like it drops it down a level because you just don't get it. Like I'll be watching, be like, "Come on, say go!"
Yes, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that.
Oh, soccer.
It does help that I do speak some Spanish, so
I only know kitchen Spanish. That does not help that.
I understand what you guys are talking about, but for me, it didn't distract me because
you're used to your wife speaking Asian to you all the time, so you're used to it. You're used to her You're used to the background noise.
Wow. I am not touching that one with a 10-foot fucking pole. So yeah, we're not going to talk about AAA today. Other than we'll touch upon it between our main segment, which is obviously SummerSlam is going to be on probably when you're listening to this, either tonight or whenever, because obviously this drops in the morning. Oh, by the way, Chip, just an FYI, when you promote your show and when you're going to tape your show, you tape your show on Tuesdays, right?
Yeah.
So when you say, follow me and watch me tonight right after I done taping this, no one hears that.
After I left. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. I was like, shit, that ain't gonna work.
Oh, well. So just a quick thing. If you do enjoy Chip's, what is it? The Best Damn Sports Show period 2. That's on Tuesday nights at 9-ish.
9:30ish.
Because sometimes we go over. But anywho, so the main thing is SummerSlam. 30 years plus that it's been around. So we wanted to do like some sort of special type thing. So we decided to do the top 10. We ranked the top 10 or top best or top favorite matches of SummerSlam. And Fat Man, I leave it to you and your tender hands.
I will let you know that one of the matches on my list is actually the match that got me into wrestling for good.
Wow. Cool. That'll be fun.
It's a top 10 list. We're just going to go 10 down. Why is it in my hands? You can't run that segment, Sleazy. Are you still sick?
No, I thought you were going to do 10 to 1 and then...
No, we're just going to do all 10s, then all 9s, then all 8s, then all... Yeah, we're going to go around the horn.
Okay.
Instead of doing my 10 down, we'll just do 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 9, 8, 8, 8.
The only reason why I say that is because our list... Well, is yours a 10 best? I assume it is.
It's a personal preference.
Okay. Chip, yours is a personal preference as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my number 10 is Big Show versus Sabu from 2007.
Not on my list.
Of course not. It's not going to be on anybody's list because no one gives a shit about it. It has a personal affect to me because obviously it has a personal connection because A, it has Sabu in it. B, it was technically an ECW match, even though it really wasn't. And C, we were there live. It was, I dare say, our first pay-per-view that we saw outside of New York because our first one was Great American Bash in 2005. Yes. But the actual trip itself has a lot of personal memories, and it was probably my favorite match on the show anyway. The rest of most of the card, including this match, wasn't very good. But there was a John Cena versus Edge on it, if I remember correctly. But this show, or this match in particular, has that moment because it was so many different pieces coming together for me. Chip, what was your number 10?
So mine are...
Hold on.
What?
When I go to Boston in October, I'm not going south to fucking go north. That ain't fucking happening.
It's happening.
I'm guessing that happens.
That ain't fucking happening.
Well,
Can I go next? Because I
sure, why not?
Because I bashed.
I'm just an ornament. I'm just an ornament on the wall.
Because I bashed New Jersey, even though my number 10 was actually held in New Jersey.
Wow.
Heart Foundation versus Brainbusters, 1989.
Of course it is, because you're fucking Mark. Heart and Tully Mark.
I dare say it's the greatest pure SummerSlam tag team match of all time.
Yeah, because nothing... Oh, no. I mean, it's either that or the McMahons versus DX. Ooh.
Well, that was at 2006. You could have picked that.
I know.
Where Triple H was freaking laying on a table picking his asshole for fucking 20 minutes.
Good time. Thankfully, we didn't really even see that. That's the best part about that. We were so high up, we didn't really see it. Chip, what was your number 10?
You are so delusional, dude. We have middle fucking... Oh my God. I'm done. I quit. We were not high up at all.
High enough up that I didn't have to stare at Triple H's ass.
You probably couldn't see that far anyway. You probably couldn't see three inches in front of your face.
Also true. What are we fighting about?
Okay, Chip. Sorry for keep interrupting you.
You're good. So
wait, before you start,
hold on.
Fuck you. So
Sleazy and the Fat Man on the same page for the first time ever.
Yeah, for a long time. Yeah.
Are you delusional? It's not the first time. Okay, go ahead.
So mine are not all based on the actual wrestling quality. Mine, since I've never been in the business, I look at different parts, angles, story development, stuff like that. So my first one is Cena versus Batista, 2008. Babyface versus Babyface.
That's actually a good pick. I don't know. Did you know my number 10? Do you want to go back and watch my number 10? Nobody else wants to watch my number 10. Spoiler, a lot of these matches that are on my list, you don't want to watch.
Even better. Oh, shit.
I guarantee you there's at least one Asuka match on here.
There are 0 Asuka matches on here.
But there are female Asian matches?
Cannot say.
Uh-huh. That means there is.
Maybe. Fatman might actually get the one that's on here. That's a female match. It's a female match. Number 9, let's start with Fatman and come back around the other way.
Mine was from 2011.
Okay.
It was a no-holds-barred match for the World's Heavyweight Championship, Randy Orton versus Christian.
That was a good match.
That was good.
Everyone talks about the Cena-Punk match, but I don't think it was as good as this one.
Didn't even make my list.
What, this match?
Either that or the Cena Punk.
Wow.
And this one flirted with my list. But
Yeah, but this one was really, really good.
I had Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio 2002.
Another great match. Jesus Christ. And let me round mine out with actually a decent match. And it was
Actually a decent match?
This was actually a decent match. And it's probably one that's on nobody's list.
Wait. Give me the year.
04.
Triple H versus Eugene.
No. Although I almost picked that.
Angle versus Guerrero.
Benoit Orton.
Benoit Orton was my next pick.
Benoit Orton. I consider that no one really talks about it because obviously Benoit was in it, but it was the coronation of Randy Orton. I mean, obviously,
very true.
Up to that point, he was the youngest world champ ever until Lesnar took it away from him. But
wrong.
In terms of youngest,
he took it away from Lesnar.
You're right. I'm sorry. I flipped it.
I'm always right. God.
Dude, bullshit's getting deep over here.
Get a
Pennsylvania?
shovel.
Yeah, it's Pennsylvania.
It is definitely Pennsylvania. But yeah.
And he is busted wide open. Jesus H. Christ. Sorry.
Yep.
What is this, NXT?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bragging off.
Oh.
Even though he just beat Roderick Strong. Okay.
Okay, cool. But yeah, it was the coronation of Randy Orton, and I believe it's the beginning of, the true... He was made that night. He truly was. And he had a great opponent to elevate him. And not many people like to talk about Benoit in that realm, but facts are facts. He helped create Orton in that respect with this match. Okay, number 8. Let's start with Chet.
I got Benoit versus Jericho, 2 out of 3 falls, 2000.
Interesting.
I liked it because it kind of, they had some really classic matches in WCW, and it kind of carried on to the WWF.
They did, absolutely. My number 8 was another good match. Weird, shocking, yes. Rock versus Brock from 02. Once again, another star-making moment. I mean, Brock was already a beast, but I believe that this match really solidified him as a main eventer. Fatman.
I have another match for the World's Heavyweight Championship. This time in a TLC match. CM Punk versus Jeff Harvey, 2009.
What do you like about that match? Because it didn't.
Everything.
It
The
did
only
not
thing I
make
didn't
my
like about the
match.
match was the finish.
Yeah.
Like they didn't go like insane with the spots, but there were some really nice spots in there. The finish I didn't like was when like freaking Jeff did the Swanton bomb off the gigantic ladder through Punk, but yet Jeff is the one that did the stretcher job.
Yeah. Yeah.
But other than that, no, I thought it was a fucking great match.
Let's get number 7 out of the way with me because I guarantee you I'm going to get enough shit.
Is it the women's match?
It is not the women's match. It's Bret Hart versus the British Bulldog from 92 at number 7. Obviously, it's a phenomenal match. But personally, to me, it doesn't mean as much as many other people it does.
Well, both of your roles are on my list down the line.
Yeah, I'm not shocked about that. I'm sure it's on Fat Man's list. Probably 2 or 1. What's your number 7? Let's do Chip.
Well, I'd hope so. I'm the only one left.
Well,
number 7.
Batman didn't do 7 yet.
Kurt Angle versus Brock Lesnar 2003 for the title. This is a match that put Kurt Angle over with the "You Tapped Out" chant.
It's a great match. Fucking Brock Lesnar's a beast. Kurt Angle's a beast.
So, just Angle Mysterio was Chip's number 9. In my honorable mention, not on my list. Rock Brock, Sleazy, you're number 8. Honorable mention, not on my list. Angle Lesnar, another honorable mention that's not on my list. Wait, is it on my list? No, not on my list. My number 7 is from 2013. John Cena versus Bryan Danielson.
That was one of my honorable mentions.
That did not make my list, only because I didn't like the finish and the post match.
I thought it was a hell of a fucking wrestling match.
It was. Yeah, it was really well done. But once again, I want to point out, and I'll say this, just to give people an idea, the match that happened most recently on my list was 2008.
Wow.
Mine was...
I'm not going to mention mine until I bring it up.
Okay. Well, you've said 13 already, so...
Yeah.
It's not the most recent one on my list, though.
Spoiler. Let's do number 6, Chip.
All right, my number 6. We actually talked about it last week. I have Nexus versus WWE 7-on-7, the Elimination Tag 2010. The reason I gave this is because it gave so many people from the Nexus a boost into WWE. I mean, some stayed long, some had a cup of coffee, but it still put them on the map in the WWE.
Thank God somebody brought it up so I can make my quick aside from that.
That's right, because you weren't on the show last week, so you couldn't voice your opinion.
I actually believe that Wade Barrett would have still been with the company had they put over Nexus. Other than that, nothing changes. I think it hastened the death of, obviously, the Nexus, but I think it also hastened the career death of Wade Barrett because they really didn't know what to do with him otherwise. They threw him in the core after that, and then they finally were like, we can kind of make him a shoot fighter again, but now we've pretty much lost all credibility with him, so we might as well get rid of him.
And then he became King Take a Pin.
Yeah, basically. My number 6, another one I'll probably get shit for, but who knows? Shawn Michaels versus Razor Ramon, the ladder match.
That was on my honorable mentions as well. I was trying to figure out how to work it in. It just didn't make top 10.
It wasn't even on my honorable mentions.
Wow. Oh, really?
Wow.
That's surprising. Really that is really surprising.
Only because they threw it together 2 weeks before the show when Vince... Because that was supposed to be Michaels versus Sid in a regular match. Mm-hmm. And they threw it together 2 weeks before the show because Vince is like, fuck, our main event is Diesel versus Mabel. We need an attraction. And then a week before that, they're like, you can't use the ladder as a weapon. Go back and watch that match. They did not once hit each other with the ladder for
They did not. Not once.
So they had to make it more psychologically sound, which they did, and they did a great job. It's still a great match. And it definitely was not as good as the first one.
No, God, no.
And yet, I love it for exactly the reasons that you're bringing up. Because it's not being used as a weapon. It's old. They've had this match around a ladder, but not using the ladder, so to speak. And it's really, I think it's really well done for being such a short time frame to put something like that together.
And the finish got botched twice.
Yeah, I did. Which is why it's still only at number 6. But it's a fond memory, and once again, it's a match that I would go back and watch. So
it's the only match you would have watched on that show.
It really is. There is no.
It was so bad.
I mean, I'm into fucking Mabel, main event Mabel.
That's got to be the worst SummerSlam main event, if not probably one of the worst SummerSlam matches of all time.
It's not the worst main event.
What's the worst main event?
I can't say.
Because it's on your list?
Maybe. Chip, you did 6. Fat Man, you're left, right?
Yep. Mine was also from 2013. 2 back-to-backs.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk.
I actually didn't like the finish of that.
Finish was awesome. Everything about that match was mwah.
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan.
I remember that match came out, or that show came out. Every one of you on the show shit on me because I thought that match was better than Cena Danielson, which it wasn't, or which Cena Danielson was not better. This was better by far. Not by far. But.
How ironic that we have done the wrestling show long enough that we actually covered that show.
Yeah.
And that was 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
God damn, pal, we're old. What the fuck?
I'm older than both y'all.
No, the finish was perfect. It was no disqualification, so Punk was just beating the shit out of Lesnar with a chair and weapons, but when Lesnar finally got a hold of one weapon, that was it. It was done. That was all he needed. One shot. That's all he needed. Perfect psychology-wise.
We'll do back-to-back. Fat Man, give us your number 5.
My most recent on this list, from 2016, AJ Styles versus John Cena.
Didn't even make my list.
Mine either. Good match, but didn't make my list.
Fucking Big Show Sabu, you fucking mark.
Oh, it gets worse from here.
I bet it fucking does.
It gets worse from here.
That match is just a great fucking straight up wrestling match.
Because it's AJ Styles, obviously. Chip.
WWF Intercontinental 1994 Hart versus Perfect. This is the one that actually propelled
what year?
Hart. 1994?
What?
91.
Oh, you're right. I can't read my handwriting. 91.
How do you confuse a 1 with a 4?
I don't know.
I wrote in a hurry?
I don't know.
Anyways, it was a match that pretty much put Bret Hart on the singles map. He went to UA. He pretty much solidified his singles career after that match.
I think it's a great match, and Kurt Hennig is a fucking god in the ring. Did not make my list. It was on my honorable mentions. If you choose to.
All that.
I know where you live, Sleazy. Just remember that.
Yeah. Come on up. Come on up.
Oh, you did say up. Over,
fuckers. My number 5 is the sole women's match on my card, on my top 10.
Bayley and Sasha Brooklyn.
No, it's SummerSlam.
It's SummerSlam only.
That was at a takeover.
That was a takeover.
Oh, shit, you're right. My bad.
It was the night before a SummerSlam.
Is it semi-recent? No. You said your most recent one was 2008?
2008 was my most recent. So it was nobody with...
Alundra Blaze versus Bull Nakano.
That is correct, from 94.
The Asian got me.
The Asian got you there. It is... Honestly, it was the match that stole the night. It was unheard of to have a match
Fuck you.
I knew that was coming.
Fuck you.
Yep. No one cares about cage matches. It was a match inside a cage. But in all seriousness, with all due respect to the Hearts doing what they do best, this match should not have been as good as it was in any rights. In 94, women's wrestling was nothing in the US. And to have these two put on what they put on was amazing. And honestly, I never watched this live. Obviously, that's a joke. I did watch this live. But it was a match for me that opened my eyes to women's wrestling. I was 9 years old at the time.
So he was...
No, I wasn't. And that's the thing, is that match wanted me to go look for other matches like that, and I couldn't find any. And honestly, there are many years where I didn't watch any women's wrestling at all because it was all, frankly, just garbage. And that reemergence of that didn't happen until you had Lita and Trish and all those really start to work on their stuff again. And that's what brought it back. And at that point, I could start watching Japan and see a lot of the older stuff with Bolt Nakano and Minami Toyota and all these Japan Joshis that were doing all sorts of cool stuff as well. But this was the first match that was an actual women's match that I was like, holy shit, these two can actually work. Number 4, let's start with Fat Man.
I hate you so much. I really do.
I told you this was a favorites list, not a best list.
You made one comment. I fucking hate you. Bret Hart versus British Bulldog, SummerSlam 92.
Okay. Not a shocker there.
Yeah.
What can be said about it that hasn't been said multiple times on the show?
Maybe we haven't discussed this. Bret carried Bulldog to that match. Bulldog forgot every spot 30 seconds into that match.
Yeah.
Bret lost, but it made Bret a star.
Yeah. It made both men a star, honestly. Because...
who became world champion 2 months later.
Yeah. But...
Who never became world champion.
Arn Anderson.
Well, someone Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson never wanted to be world champion.
Tully Blanchard. Everyone wants to be world champion.
Still better workers than Bulldog.
That's bullshit. You know it.
Both better workers than Bulldog.
Number 4 for me.
Who drew more money than Bulldog, by the way?
A lot of people drew more money than Bulldog.
So I'm saying Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard draw more money than British Bulldog.
My number 4 was TLC. Which
I'm assuming TLC won?
Yeah. For obvious reasons.
Honorable mention for me.
I mean, I've talked about TLC matches all the time. They are the tip top of Crash TV wrestling at that point. They were amazing. Every spots were innovative. This particular one was innovative. The 3 teams have done so much, and obviously there's a little bit of ECW flair in there with the Dudleys. I don't know what else to say to that. Chip, number 4.
Mine was CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy, TLC 2009.
There you go. Somebody on Fat Man's list.
The reason is because it took 2 opposite sides of the spectrum. You had you had Punk, who doesn't do drugs, alcohol, nothing.
And Jeff Hardy, who's a drug addict.
That was fighting his demons. And
fighting his demons. He's a fucking drug addict. What year was that?
Demons.
What year was that?
2009.
Okay, so 2 years later, he stumbles down to the ring to face Sting?
Yup.
He's still having problems. He's losing.
Like 6
he's not
months
kicking.
ago, he get arrested for a DWI again or something?
He's not kicking out of his demons.
No, I never said it. I never said they're easy to kick out of.
He's tapping. He's tapping. I love it, though. I mean, in all honesty, one of the big problems with WWE is multiple times they've done this, where they've brought a real life issue and made a storyline out of it. And with all honesty, that's one of the things that I really don't believe should be in wrestling, because there's no good solution, or there's no good happy ending out of this. Because let's say Jeff Hardy beats Punk. Okay? What does that mean? Oh, the drug addict managed to hold off long enough to be able to beat an opponent that's completely clear-headed. The storyline doesn't work.
And now, see, in my eyes, it's the opposite.
Okay.
That if he does and is able to beat him and do it while he's sober, that in itself is conquering something. Not saying he stays sober, but trust me, I've dealt with my demons. I at times still do. And they're not fun. And that's why I'm stuck at home a lot right now, because of my demons. And I'm not making excuses. I made the decision to do what I did, but it's little victories that help you rise above it. And yes, you do stumble. You stumble quite often, unfortunately. When a demon takes hold of you, or in the demons, I'm not talking just like inner demons, I'm talking addiction. It's not easy to break away from. And especially when it comes to alcohol, the relapses are quite often, believe it or not. So to have him, if he would have won as being a sober situation, then it's just a little mountain. But the fact that you bring a real life situation into a storyline and it's okayed by you, it's not like you're not blindsided by it, it makes it more real to me.
I kind of agree with that. If you bring up a real life situation, the wrestler's okay with it, I don't see the problem with it. If they say no, I don't want to do it, and then they're forced to do it, then yeah.
Well,
that's going to cause a lot of problems.
It's one thing when it's a personal issue that's not
detrimental.
There's no solution to it.
That is true.
That's my problem with it. Is that at best you're saying right now Jeff is sober enough to beat you, CM Punk. But how long does that last?
But the fact that how hard he drove to bring out the alcoholism in it.
Yeah, well, that's my thing, is that there's no... I don't know. It just... It seems like... Here's another great example. Roman Reigns got leukemia. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
They never used it in the storyline. They legit told him, I got leukemia, I'm out for a while. What?
Yeah, I remember Dean Ambrose. They wanted Dean Ambrose to do it, and he wouldn't.
Absolutely.
Take fun of it. Yeah.
And he absolutely was in the right in there. 100%.
I agree with that situation. Yes, I do agree with that situation.
I think it's a similar situation with drugs and alcohol addiction, because there's not really a solution to it. It's one thing if there was a true solution to it. All you're doing is coping. You're using coping mechanisms. You're using philosophies to try and get you to tomorrow, but you're not solving the issue of alcoholism, because there's nothing you can do about it. Either you're addicted to it and you're just working your way past, or pushing a relapse as far in the future as possible, or you're giving up, you're taking the relapse and going as far as you want. It's the same with the leukemia. Roman's going to have leukemia for the rest of his life. It might be in remission for most of his life. It might come back, but it'll always be there. There's never going to be a solution for it in theory. It's cancer. Things change, obviously. But for now, at this point, there's no miracle cure for leukemia. So to bring that up in a storyline that says, okay, I can beat you and I could beat cancer this week. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't jive for me. So on a happier note, Taker Edge from 2008. For my number three. My number 3. Shock of Shocks, a Taker match makes it onto this list. I consider it one of the best technical matches in terms of, like, this was the first Hell in a Cell post the PG era. So it was this weird, like, they're not going to get color, but it's Hell in a Cell, so what's really going to go on? And I think they did a really great job of modernizing the Hell in a Cell match to make it not super bloody, but still tell the devastation of what it causes to be in that match.
They did everything in that match except bleed.
Exactly. And I think they did a great job of it. And this was my most recent match. Number 3 goes to Fatman.
Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect, 1991.
Shock of shocks.
One thing that's glossed over about Perfect in that match is he had a bad back going into
Yes,
that
he did. Yes, he did.
And the only reason he was there was to put Bret Hart over. He didn't have to do that, but he did. He has so much respect. And he bumped his ass off with that bad back. Mm-hmm. That's how much respect he had for Bret. So that's another thing. Like, it's the background made the match even better.
Cool. Number 3 for Chip. Did I do that right?
Eddie. Yep, you're right. Eddie versus Ray for custody of Dominic.
The DNA on a pole match. I mean,
what a fucking mark.
I mean, it was the worst Eddie Ray match, but it was an Eddie Ray match. So
it was Eddie Ray match, and it had the stipulation is what got me. And now look, Dominic's now in the WWE. So in hindsight, it's 2020.
Yeah, well, this was also
should be Dominic Guerrero.
Really? Yeah.
God.
The best part of that match is
nice storyline continuously WWE.
Fuck it. Best part of the match?
Where the fuck is Vicky?
Yeah. I love that part. I do. I really do. But it's an amazing match, and it did tell a great story. So number 2, let's start with Fatman for number 2.
This was the first pay-per-view I ordered in a very, very long time. SummerSlam 2002. The return of Shawn Michaels versus Triple H.
First match in 4 years.
What a fantastic match.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, like you said, Michaels missed 4 years and still could go.
Didn't miss a beat. Didn't really miss a beat.
Not one beat.
Chip, what is your number?
TLC, Hardy's, Dudley's, Edge and Christian.
My man, right there.
I just like that match put a love of TLC in my head forever. It was so action packed. It was just bodies flying everywhere. The reckless abandonment is a good way to describe that match.
Mm-hmm.
It was something it was something brand new. It was new innovation, and they took it to the max. Had me on the edge of the seat the whole time.
My number 2 is also Michael's match.
Hold on. Most recent, but it's not 2002?
I can't say.
Well, you can't.
The only thing that makes sense is 2002.
Oh.
Then you're sorely mistaken. Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan for 2005.
Uh-oh.
I told you. This was
Here comes.
The only reason that's on that list is because Michaels made Hogan look like a fucking
love it.
douchebag.
It's the greatest. It's the fucking greatest.
Sold the shit out of everything.
Yes.
Do you all know where that pay-per-view was?
Washington, D.C.
Yep.
Yes, it was.
It was phenomenal. It was the greatest. It is probably... Now, keep in mind, my number 1 is also very phenomenal as well. But Hogan Michaels, I will go back and watch to this day. I love it so much. It is stupid.
Was a great match.
It's fucking ridiculous. And I loved
it was not a great match.
It was a terrible match. It was the worst.
Dickhead.
It was the worst. And I loved every second of it. It was amazing.
We'll be right back after this.
Now I'm going to tell you my number 1 because I don't want to leave this segment off on a lurch.
See how wrong you are.
Can anyone guess what my number 1 is?
Let's say so. I'll give you two. The 2008.
I'll give you 2 guesses each.
It's not the obvious choice. Let me go through your list. You already said Michael.
I have written yours down, so I don't even recall what half yours are, honestly.
All right. You can make a guess.
He can't give me a year, else I'll pick it.
Yep.
So 6.
It was no newer than 2008.
And it hasn't already been said?
Nope.
You're a fucking mark.
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
It's Taker versus Taker.
Of course it's Taker versus Taker.
That was Chicago, right? United Center?
It was the same night as Nakano versus Blaze. Because
I believe it. That was the opening of the United Center.
Yep. And it was obviously, come on, it's Taker versus Taker. Remember how we said before, you said it was probably the worst match, worst main event of all time? No, dude. This was the worst main event of all time. Even Mabel eked this out. This was terrible. But it harkens back once again to a very, very personal memory of mine. It was one of the few rare times I got to watch a pay-per-view when I was a kid. I watched this live. And it was stupid. It was ridiculous. They had Leslie Nielsen going around throughout the entire show trying to find Taker. It's stupid garbage, okay? But the reality was 9-year-old Mike loved Taker. He didn't know what was going on. What? Taker versus Taker? My mother and father at the time went to the state fair, so we were being watched by friends of the family. And one of the stipulations, I guess, of watching us was the people that were watching it also wanted to watch SummerSlam that night. So we all watched this together. And let's just say my parents' friends were they were marks. I mean, like, marks. Like, how the fuck did they make another Taker? Marks type of thing. I was a little bit more smarter than that, but not much.
And then I had one of the best special effects where the lightning bolt came and it destroyed the urn.
Yeah. I mean, it's so dumb.
It was awesome.
This was stupid, okay?
It was.
I 100%, I know Fat Man's over there just stewing because my number one is something he would never pick in 25 years. But for me, from a personal perspective and from the memory behind it and just having that moment of feeling like, wow, this is cool. Wow, this entire show. You had Brett and Owen. You had, like I said, the first female match where I went, holy shit, this is good for female matches. What is this? And then obviously this campy as fuck Taker versus Taker main event. It thinking back about it even now still brings a moment of just pure happiness. And it's from a time where I didn't have to think about anything else. I just got to enjoy wrestling. And that's one of the biggest problems or biggest struggles, not problems, biggest struggles I've had since, starting to train for wrestling, knowing much more about backstage shit and just the philosophy of what's going on for real, versus just being able to sit back and just watch the product as it's intended.
It's kind of funny because I've watched the first episode of Heels, and now I get to see the background of what you all talk about all the time. I'm actually witnessing it, and it is opening my eyes big time to things.
It changes your perspective on a lot of things because of it. So, Chip, because I know...
I'll go. No, I'll go next because it is a segue. While 9-year-old Mike was watching that show live, 9-year-old Matt was watching that show live.
Were you really?
And 9-year-old Matt witnessed the greatest match he'd ever seen up to that point. I don't care what the fuck people say. That was not a match inside of a steel cage. Bret Hart versus Owen Hart is a master class of psychology.
It is.
Bar none. I don't care what Ryan says. Oh, it's just a match inside of a cage. No, it wasn't.
No, that was a great match.
They had a match inside of the cage where they proved you didn't have to have brutality to try to win the match.
How old are you all now?
30. How old are we? 36.
How old are we? Wow, 36.
Okay, so
okay, I was 13 then at that time.
So,
and I watched it live too. That's why I was going there.
They tried right off the bat. They tried to win the match. The escapes, where they were just the drama built up inside that match, the storyline leading up to it.
Oh yeah,
was just absolutely. It's my favorite storyline of all time, Bret versus Owen, culminating in a great WrestleMania match and I think an even better steel cage match for the title. And the title was on the line, which people, yes, it added a little extra layer to not only did Owen beat Bret at WrestleMania to think he was the best, Bret won the title at WrestleMania, so Owen beat Bret on his best day. Mm-hmm. Then you go to the steel cage match where Owen's trying to, everything together culminated. And it reminds me of my childhood where it was, and that's another thing that maybe Ryan will understand with a different match, but it reminded me of watching it live, going back, like being in awe of this is one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life at 9 years old.
I will concede something that's probably different, and I think it shows the difference between Fat Man and myself. I'm the oldest of 3 siblings. Myself, my sister, and my disabled brother. I don't have that attachment to the Bret Owens storyline as a lot of people do, like Fat Man.
The brotherhood. Yeah.
Well,
I'm the youngest.
He's the youngest, and he's had a bunch of brothers that were older than him. So there's almost a sense of the dynamic similar. I never got that dynamic. So I'm not going to say that it's lost on me, but I don't have a
connection to it.
Yeah, a tighter connection than a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and let's not also forget on that show, Razor and Diesel had a hell of an Intercontinental title.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Good too. Yeah.
I want to point out 2 of my top 10 were on that show.
Fuck you, Volcano match, but
yeah,
no. But I did say personal preference. That was I should have been smarter than that.
I mean, I feel like, and let's get Chips first.
But, yeah, go ahead.
Let's get Chips first, because what's your number 1, Chip?
It's the one that made me fall in love with wrestling. Davey Boy Smith and Bret Hart.
There you go.
Wembley Stadium,
yeah.
London, England. I mean, the amount how over just for that night, Davey Boy Smith was performing in front of his home country. I had never seen to this day a SummerSlam that loud.
And you won't.
You won't. No, I know you won't. It was a great match. It was the match that got me into wrestling, and that will always be the thing. It was so cool to see because I was. What year was that?
92.
88? 92?
That was 92.
92. I was 12 years old. No, 11 years old at that time. And I was just like, wow. And then that's what actually got me to watch it for years. And then I took a break and now I'm back to it. But that was the match that made me fall in love with it. And I remember I didn't see it on pay-per-view. I rented it from the library.
I was going to mention I rented that from, there was a video store in my town, which now ironically is a liquor store. But I used to rent videos all the time there, and at least probably once a month I'd rent SummerSlam 92.
Yeah.
Because I remember they were like 50 cents a freaking rental.
Well, I had a membership, so it was free for me.
That was next door to Tops, right? Or what Tops is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Victor Video or something like that.
It's funny because a lot of the WWF shows at the time I got not from there, but
Mr.
from
Video.
No, the Newark Wegmans.
Newark Wegmans, that's right.
I would get multiple times I would order or rent games, Super Nintendo games from there, and I'd order pay-per-views that, were 3 years behind, but still.
For some reason, they didn't like Mr. Video and Phelps and Clifton's Victor's. I don't even know. It was just a video store, but I know the guy's name was Victor.
Yeah.
Who owned it. So we just called him Victor's Video. But they never had WCW pay-per-views. They had Mr. Video had older ones from the 80s, early 80s and 90s, but they never had newer ones for some reason. But the North Wegmans always had the newer ones.
Hey, Wegmans has been around for a while.
Yeah. He's been around forever, bro.
Since the 60s.
Not in Maryland. It just got there recently. That's why I was confused.
It's a Rochester, New York. The headquarters is in Rochester.
Yeah, they've been here since.
I think it was in the past 10 years it hit Maryland, so that's why I didn't know it had been around.
Yeah,
I think there's one across the street from the Barclays Center now.
Yep, there's one that's going to be down in Midtown Manhattan now.
There's also one,
shit, really?
I think they're building one in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. There's one in Boston.
Yep.
The nearest one to me is 45 minutes to an hour away.
Yeah, they're amazing stores, and the company's amazing. They take care of their employees well.
They are. Yep, they're one of the top 10 companies to work for in America.
They were number one for many years.
Yeah.
And the only reason why
a company called Google came around.
No. They were up until 4 years ago. They were number one. So let's get into news and rumors. We've already blown.
I was going to say I have a lot of them. So
holy shit!
I don't know if you want to wait till next week.
Pound them. Let's do this.
All right, fuck it. So Christian Cage wins the Impact World title. My thoughts.
Holy shit!
Awesome.
Great match.
They wasted it on TV, which I knew they had to do because it's the first episode of Rampage. But now Cage is facing Omega. Now this time for the AEW title, All Out. So now we know who's winning. So you sacrificed a pop for pay-per-view buys. Cool.
That sounds mighty WCW-ish.
You sacrificed a pay-per-view for television.
There's one other thing that you didn't say. Fuck you, Impact. No, fuck you, Impact. We'll drop your.
Oh yeah. We'll drop your title, but only to another AEW guy on their show. I did actually have the notes. I was looking through them.
Dell's in Nashville right now, and he was in Nashville as of yesterday. And he goes, yeah, Christian's first TNA as the title holder is tonight, and it's sold out. I was like, oh, no shit, really?
It's not a shock.
I was like, he was TNA champion before, but
I'm saying
his reign got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Oh shit! How if I do that? So, more news on NXT. Apparently, it's a toxic situation. I got some notes here. Hold on. As noted recently, WWE slashed the NXT roster in a significant way, but that wasn't the big news that came out, to a shock of many, to find out that Triple H reportedly had no say in it, which we reported before, according to
Fuck Dave Meltzer.
Reports that Triple H have largely been thought to be untouchable within WWE circles, but in failing to stop AEW's rise and eventually losing the ratings war against Dynamite. I want to stop right there. What war?
The Wednesday night skirmish, don't you know?
NXT was on Wednesdays. They moved to Tuesdays because USA picked up the NHL, so they had to move. Just like how Dynamite's going to have to move now that TNT picked up NHL. There was no war. There was no war. Whoever says there was a war is a fucking 40-year-old lives in mom's basement, jerks off to the fucking Attitude Era.
And Chris Jericho. Wait.
50-year-olds who live in their mom's basement, jerks off to the Attitude Era. Ratings don't matter anymore. We've stayed in for a long time. WWE is the most profitable it's ever been. Who cares? Anyway, it gave Triple H's detractors ammunition to go to Vince to undermine him, and Vince is listening. The idea being played backstage is that Triple H was completely in charge of NXT, but that his version of the product failed to attract younger viewers, as NXT is largely the oldest skewing wrestling show on air. I got more. Hold on. The report notes that the situation became extremely toxic, quote unquote, because of all the politics, I see you, involved backstage and more of a power grab and people looking out for their own future. And futures, and unfortunately, it was NXT talent that ended up being pawns in the struggle.
Oh, for fuck's stop for a second. Jesus Christ. What in the fuck is this shit? Is this all coming from Meltzer?
There's way more.
Holy shit.
Triple H's strategy was largely to stockpile NXT wrestlers with significant independent talent that showed potential, but in the end, with a lot of smaller wrestlers over the age of 30 in McMahon's eyes, those talents can't be main roster stars nor have any potential in main event of Raw or SmackDown. One person noted that when WWE signed indie wrestlers, the goal was to, quote, beat the independent out of them. And then when they graduated to Raw or SmackDown, the goal was to beat the NXT out of them.
The fuck is this shit?
The new mindset is to have bigger wrestlers and more character development with NXT, a clear developmental brand, and to make NXT a clear developmental brand, and the struggle and toxicity is reportedly why Karrion Kross, the NXT champion, was jobbed on at Raw at the same time that NXT was still building him up as an unstoppable force. I have a thought on that. A similar situation occurred with Dakota Kai, the challenger for the women's title at the next NXT, lost to a tape match to Aaliyah that aired on Main Event. Okay, so they bitching complain that WWE doesn't have bigger superstars.
Wait, Dakota Kai whoa. Who lost to Aaliyah on Main Event?
Yeah.
The former WWE superstar Aaliyah.
That's what it said.
You fucking goddamn marks.
Anyway, you have Karrion Kross, the NXT champion, who's a big dude, is getting jobbed out because he's being built as an unstoppable force when Vince McMahon wants bigger guys who look unstoppable.
And he jobs out to a skinny, smaller, 30-something-year-old Jeff Hardy.
A drug addict.
I don't know what to say to all that other than
fuck Jay Meltzer?
Meltzer is a fucking weirdo.
He's on AEW's payroll and he has some bachelor review and everything.
Yeah, but even so, even if he's not, there is so much supposition there that can't possibly be true. There is no way any of that is true. That is just a fucking. That is.
Cop-out?
It's not even a cop-out. It's Meltzer spending 20 minutes on a show because he's got nothing else to cover. He's trying to make sense of a situation.
He had plenty to cover, though.
Yeah, he's making shit up like he's done for decades to get more views. And that's all that is. That was a bunch of supposition based upon looking at it from the outside because he's not on WWE's payroll right now. He's on AEW's payroll. So, of course, he's going to look at it the light least favorable to them. And, of course, every single fucking person who ever leaves WWE has gone axe or grind with WWE that wants to go right to Meltzer and say, listen, this is what's going on. You're just all a bunch of fucking marks. And it gets to me after a while because Meltzer is like the god of dirt sheet writing, and it's just such bullshit. This is one of those great examples of it. Listening to him on Twitter when he talks about shit like this is just
I don't know. I'm blocked.
Lucky. I should say something, but then I get blocked too.
I called him out on his bullshit, and then he blocked me.
Yeah. Well, guess what?
Well, did you know that according to also
fuck Brian Alvarez?
WWE almost bought CMLL years ago. Did you know this? This just came out. According to Meltzer, the report states that WWE wanted to have a large presence in the Mexican wrestling scene and groom the best talent for the U.S. market, with the idea being that CMLL's biggest competitor, AAA, would not be able to afford to keep their talent.
What year
However,
was this?
It was stated by this unnamed publication,
of course,
that the deal did not go through because CMLL also wanted WWE to purchase their exclusive venues, something WWE was not interested in doing.
Exclusive venues?
That's what I said when I read it.
The fuck? Now, what year was this?
It does not say the year. It just says a few years ago.
So it could have been 2013. It could have been 1998. It could have been 74. What the fuck?
Right.
What kind of Look at this journalist and his high quality fucking. Oh God. He must not have had anything to cover that week. At best, WWE would have been looking to buy their tape library. At best.
Agreed.
Or license it.
Maybe they could translate it too.
I mean, what better way to throw decades of content onto the WWE network at the time?
I would say it'll probably be around if the reports are true, it'll probably be around 2015.
Which would have been not too far. When did WWE network?
14, a year in.
So, yeah. And they were looking for more stuff to put on. So, yeah, that would have made sense.
Brian Knobbs is in the hospital for, quote, several months due to some stomach issues. Nothing really came out. He does have a GoFundMe page. From what I read, it was something he had, like, really a pain in his stomach, and he can't walk anymore because he needs a total knee replacement. But it's the stomach issues is the most important thing. They're also doing King of the Ring.
Cool.
And the finals are both set for the Saudi show, which is supposed to take place in a rumored date, Thursday, October 21st. SmackDown the next day will be in Wichita, Kansas, which is an 18-hour flight.
Well, I guess it's Raw that's winning. Both King and Queen of the Ring. Or they ain't making that show. That is not...
Or all the SmackDown matches go on first.
Still, that's not a flight you want to do and then wrestle again.
Right. Roman Reigns says that his promos aren't scripted.
Haven't been for a year, from what he said?
Apparently. Yeah. I bullet points. I've been a big believer of just have hit these 3 bullet points in the 5 minutes you're given or something like that. Like, you don't need every single fucking word scripted. You don't need that. It's too much.
I think, and coming from the acting standpoint that I have in my background compared to the wrestling standpoint, that's exactly what you give certain aspects or certain things to hit, subjects to hit, and let them go. Because the battle they had, or the promo battle they had on Friday night between John Cena and Roman Reigns was golden, if you ask me.
Because
it had emotion, it was raw, it was awesome.
It's 2 guys that Vince trusts in the ring, and you've got Paul Heyman looking over their shoulder.
Sure, I just thought it was great.
It is. It's absolutely great.
Keith Lee had heart issues. That was why he was out for several months.
Heart inflammation. And it was bad enough that it could have killed him.
Yep. It's a good thing it didn't. Sasha Banks.
Dude, we're already 20 minutes over.
Let me get my shit in, okay? And Bianca Belair both missed this past week's house shows due to, quote, unforeseen circumstances. COVID. So their match at SummerSlam is tonight may be in doubt.
COVID.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah, mine too.
It's the likely possibility. Is it? We don't know. We won't know. Probably until they say something, obviously.
Survivor Series, November 21st in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
The December pay-per-view, not yet named, will happen 12/12 in Chicago. Dominic DeNucci passed away at age 89. He trained, if people don't know who he was a wrestling trainer, and he trained Mick Foley.
Yep.
WWE in such a desperate state right now. They're so desperate.
How desperate are they?
They extended their TV deal in Australia for multiple years and millions of dollars. How dare they? They're so desperate to get an Australian TV deal that AEW doesn't have.
Millions of dollars. Woo. Millions of dollars. They're desperate,
ROH moved Death Before Dishonor from Lakeland, Florida to the ECW arena
because of
COVID.
Yep.
I don't blame them.
I don't either. Florida's all like, hey, we don't got to wear masks. And then like everyone in Florida has COVID now.
Yeah.
I'll be down there in November.
2, 3, 4. I got 4 more. Rob Conway was a guest coach at the PC.
Cool.
Really?
And Sean Daivari was rehired by WWE as a producer.
Heard about that.
Not as a performer. That's cool.
Not his brother Arya, who they released, but
Fuck
they
him.
hired as. Apparently, speaking of Kobe, WWE writers and WWE staff and wrestlers to wear masks at all events. I don't blame them. 2 positives. First, Candice LeRae is pregnant.
Yes. Baby Wrestling 2022.
And Sleazy, I do not want you to whip your dick out on this,
Okay.
but Riho is moving to the U.S. full time.
I know. Isn't it great?
Because he just came.
Yes, I did. That's phenomenal. Yeah, so Chip, Twitter, yes, promo.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and get this right this time because I totally fucked it up last time. If you guys are interested in something, I mean, we follow wrestling here, but if you want another sports podcast, full sports, we follow soccer. Well, not really soccer, baseball, hockey.
Only assholes call it soccer.
Anyways, basketball, hockey, baseball. We even do a little wrestling, cover UFC.
Wait, do you cover handball?
Oh, I love handball.
God damn
Handball's
yeah.
awesome.
What about archery?
It is by far the best Olympic sport that happened.
Do you cover, now watch out for this, equestrian?
We do not do equestrian now.
He's not that fancy.
I'm not in.
I do not do play-by-play or dressage.
Not for me, dog. Not for me.
And we definitely don't cover the Duke Blue Devils, so you're right.
Twitter Chip.
Anyways,
You're going to have to when they win the national championship.
Oh,
the
Jesus
Best Damn
Christ.
Sports Show Period 2 airs Tuesday nights, not tonight, but Tuesday nights at usually between 9:30 and 10, depending on what time we get done recording this on Tuesday nights. But you can follow me on Facebook at the Best Damn Sports Show, or the Best Darn Sports Show Period 2. I need to adjust that. And my Twitter is the Sports Guru 728. Thank you guys.
Fuck Ryan because he's not on the show. But Ryan Buck 85.
Blame Canada.
Blame Canada on Twitter. I am at TWS Sleazy.
TWS Fatman.
And the show is at Sleazy Fatman on Twitter and Instagram. Which, by the way, we've got a bunch of new followers on there. They're all spam accounts, basically Asian models wanting to see my dick. But it's okay, we're gaining new followers every day anyway. So I consider it an absolute win. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Sleazy and the Fat Man. You can also find us on Gear Network at gearnetwork.com. You can also find the show that drops every Saturday morning at 8 on your favorite podcast network. There's something I wanted to plug. If you guys haven't listened to our, I guess you want to say our sister show on Sundays, All Bets Are Off with Robbie Vegas, check it out. There's a bunch of crazy shows. If you guys like listening to heavy metal, or you're wrestling fans like us, or you're horror fans even, Robbie Vegas covers all three. A couple weeks ago, he did an interview with Maddock. It was really, really good, actually. Check out his show drops every Sunday morning on, once again, whatever podcast you enjoy, or you can find them also on the Gear Network.
Oh, the what?
GearNetwork.com.
The show.
All Bets Are Off with Robbie Vegas.
All bets are off. Okay.
Look at him.
Cool.
New fan already. Probably two.
He's a mark. What do you expect?
Hey, you know what? When you have a 2-hour drive to and from work, you listen to podcasts, okay?
Well,
I have an hour drive to and from work, so I know what you mean. I do listen to podcasts, yes.
So Chip, I want you to listen to A Hot Dog is a Sandwich. All Bets Are Off with Robbie Vegas.
A hot dog is not a fucking sandwich.
They get to it on the show.
Not a fucking sandwich. It's a fucking hot dog.
No, it's a sandwich.
It's definitely not a fucking sandwich.
What else?
Next week's show, we're going to talk about whether a hot dog is a sandwich.
It ain't no fucking sandwich.
Well, right now I'm actually listening to the Blind Spot, the History Channel about 9/11. That's the one I'm into right now. It's really good.
Ooh, I gotta look that
That's
up.
a good one. what's the one that got thrown off the air? If you're into liberal garbage, now keep in mind that I'm liberal as fuck. So I'm pretty. When I say it's liberal trash, it's pretty far out there. Citations needed. Reply All is a great one. If you haven't listened to that, wrestling related stuff, we do not condone anyone listening to Conrad Thompson's podcasts ever. But if you do, listen to 83 Weeks and
listen to What's Wrong with Wrestling Today.
Yeah,
that's another good one. That's one of my favorites.
And if you're a fucking
I'm actually a member of the Patreon for them.
If you're a fucking mark listening to Wrestling Observer Live, go fuck yourself. Just delete our show, please.
And if you're listening to Dave Meltzer's ratings, go fuck yourself. Delete our show.
That's his show.
I hope you all step on a Lego if you listen to that show.
Hey,
well done. That's pretty much it for the show. So with thanks to Chip Willett.
See you guys.
And as always, for Sleazy.
For the Fat Man.
This is the Wrestling Show. Thank you guys so much for listening. Peace.
Fuck Kenny Omega. Fuck Dave Meltzer. Fuck Nick Gage. And Sleazy, you're a...
I'm a truth that you seem to run from. I'm an army of one. I'm a clip in your gun. I'm the pain in the game. The bloodshed in your name. When there's nothing to gain, I'm the world gone
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.